Stop for 1 minute. If you are a widow, a mother, or anyone who feels like the world has forgotten you, look at my face. My name is Nora. Today, I am a successful woman in the USA. But just a few years ago, I was a girl sleeping in the mud in Anambra State because my own uncle, Marcus, stole my father's house and locked the door against me and my little brother. I watched my mother die of a broken heart because of his greed. He thought he had ended our lives when he threw the keys away and blocked my number. But I am here to tell you one thing: man is not God. The same girl he left in the rain to die is the same woman he now sees on digital billboards. If you want to know how God takes an orphan from the dust and sets them on a throne in a foreign land, listen to my story. Your enemies might block your path, but they cannot block your sun from rising. This is my mother's tears, my journey to America, and my ultimate triumph. Listen closely. Before we begin, thank you to the beautiful souls already here. This channel is a small house right now, but I want to build it into a home for all of us. Please, hit that subscribe button and join our family. It costs nothing, but it means the world to a sister trying to find her voice. Thank you so much. It all started many years ago with my grandfather, Logan, and my mother's father, Carter. These two men were best friends from childhood. They shared everything: food, secrets, and dreams. In their excitement to seal their friendship forever, they made a pact: their children would marry each other. It was a blood promise made over palm wine and laughter, long before the children were even born. My mother, Owen, was a beautiful girl, full of life and dreams. But when she turned 18, the promise made by the grandfathers came knocking. Logan's son, Mason, was the man chosen for her. Right after she finished her secondary school, before she could even think of a career or a future, the village elders arrived. Mason and his father Logan came to Carter's house for the marriage rites. To everyone's surprise, Mason truly loved Owen. He treated her like a queen. In our village, people whispered about how lucky Owen was. Within 3 months of the wedding, the joy doubled. My mother became pregnant with me. Everything seemed perfect. Mason promised her the world. He promised that our lives would be filled with comfort. But as the elders say, the dry leaf does not fall far from the tree, and the wind blows where it wills. Just a few months into the pregnancy, Mason fell ill. It started as a small sickness, just a fever, we thought. But within days, the love of Owen's life was gone. At just 18 years old, my mother became a widow before she even became a mother. After the burial of my father, Mason, the family gathered. In my village, there is a culture called levirate marriage. They decided that my mother must remarry my father's brother, Marcus. They said it was to keep the property and the bloodline in the family. My mother cried. She refused. She wanted to mourn her husband, not sleep with his brother. Pressure is a powerful thing. Between the village elders and her own family, Owen eventually accepted Marcus. She had no money and no way to support the baby in her womb. Marcus moved into the house and immediately took control. He didn't just take the role of a husband, he collected all of my late father's property, the land, the savings, everything, claiming it was his right as the surviving brother. Not long after, I was born. My mother named me Nora. She told me later that I was the only thing that kept her smiling during those dark days living with a man she didn't love. Marcus was cold, but he provided the bare minimum. My mother tried her best to be a good wife, hoping that one day, he would truly care for us. 2 years later, my younger brother Jackson arrived. Now, my mother had 2 children to worry about. Life was hard, but we were surviving. Marcus was the head of the house, but he always looked at us like we were a burden, even though he was using my father's wealth to fund his own life. One morning, Marcus announced he was traveling to the big city to find better work. He promised to send money. For the first 2 or 3 weeks, he called. He sounded busy, distracted. But then, the calls started to dwindle. When my mother would call him, crying that the children were hungry, he would pick up and bark at her, "I am very busy. Stop calling me for now." Months turned into years. Marcus stopped calling altogether. He stopped sending money. Things became incredibly hard for my mother, Jackson, and me. We went from being a family with property to being the poorest people in the village. My mother worked in other people's farms just to get a cup of Gary for us to eat. One afternoon, a car drove into the village. It was Marcus. But he wasn't alone. He came back with a young woman named Alina, who was heavily pregnant. He didn't even look at my mother or ask how Jackson and I were doing. He walked into the house like he owned the world, with this new woman on his arm. 2 days after his return, Marcus called a meeting of the extended family. Everyone gathered. Marcus stood up and spoke with a voice like cold stone. He said, "I want to say this openly. I, Marcus, am no longer married to Owen. This woman, Alina, is my only wife. From now on, nobody should disturb me again regarding Owen and her children." Then came the words that broke my mother's spirit. Marcus pointed at Jackson and me and said, "These children are not my own. I have no responsibility toward them." My mother fell to her knees. She begged him, "Even if you don't want me, please, take care of the children. You took Mason's property. Use his own money to send his children to school." But Marcus had a heart of storm and stone. He laughed in her face. He didn't care about the village tradition now that it didn't suit him. He had the money, he had the city life, and he had a new pregnant wife. The elders stayed silent, watching a man rob a widow and her orphans in broad daylight. A week later, Marcus packed his bags, took Alina, and headed back to the big city. Before he left, he did something truly wicked. He blocked my mother's number and cut off every way we had to reach him. He disappeared with our father's legacy, leaving us with nothing. By this time, both of my grandparents, Logan and Carter, had passed away. We were alone. My mother became like a ghost. At her young age, the weight of the world was too much. She would sit and think day and night, staring into space. The stress, the hunger, and the heartbreak started to eat her away. She used to say she felt like Goshen, but not the land of plenty, the land of the forgotten. The thinking and the pain finally took her. My mother, Owen, passed away. She died of a broken heart and a body worn out by labor. When the news reached Marcus in the city, he didn't come to mourn. He came home, wait for it, to lock all the rooms. He took the keys to the entire house, took every last valuable item, and drove back to the city, leaving me and Jackson outside. My dear friends, can you imagine? I and my brother Jackson were left homeless. We were sleeping on the porch in front of our own father's house. When it rained, We were bitten by the cold. When the sun came out, it scorched our skin. We cried every night, begging our parents' spirits to come and take us away because the world was too cruel. We only ate when the people from the local church saw us and gave us a little food. We couldn't go to school. While other children were carrying their bags and wearing clean uniforms, Jackson and I were in rags, wandering the village square. I felt like our lives were over before they had even begun. I was walking aimlessly when I saw a small hairdresser's shop. A woman named Camille was working there. I didn't have money, but I stood there for hours, watching how she moved her hands, how she braided the hair. I was fascinated. Camille looked up and saw me. Instead of chasing me away, she said, "Nora, come. Hold this attachment for me. Give it to me little by little." Every morning, when the school bell rang for other children, I went to Camille's shop. I became her shadow. During the Christmas season, the shop was overflowing with customers. I worked so hard that I eventually became a professional. I learned how to create the most attractive hairstyles. I discovered I had a gift for beauty. Camille would give me small amounts of money for food, which I used to feed Jackson. One afternoon, a sophisticated woman arrived at the shop. She dropped off her two beautiful daughters and asked for them to be given the best hairstyles. Camille was busy, so she told me, "Nora, handle this." I put my whole heart into those girls' hair. I created styles that looked like art. When the woman returned to pick up her daughters, she stopped in her tracks. She was shocked. "Who did this?" she asked. "Who made my daughters look like princesses?" Camille pointed at me and said, "It was Nora." The woman called me over. "I love your work," she said. "I want to meet your parents." My eyes filled with tears. Camille spoke up for me, explaining that my parents were gone and that I was living on the streets with my brother. The woman looked at me with such kindness. She said, "Nora, I am going back to the USA soon. I want you to come with me." I started crying. "Ma, I have no money for a passport or a plane ticket. I only have my brother Jackson." The woman laughed softly and hugged me. "I am not asking you for money, my dear. I am asking for your heart and your talent." She helped me and Jackson prepare everything. She sponsored our visas, bought our clothes, and took us away from the village that had watched us suffer. When we landed in the USA, the cold air felt like a fresh start. The woman who helped us, her name was Auntie Luna, didn't just leave us to fend for ourselves. She treated us like her own blood. For the first time in years, Jackson and I slept on soft beds with clean sheets. No more rain beating us on the porch. No more wondering if we would eat the next day. I didn't waste a single second. Auntie Luna helped me get my certifications, and I started working in a high-end salon. The Americans were amazed at my African braiding skills. They had never seen someone who could weave hair with such speed and precision. Within 2 years, I wasn't just an employee, I was the most requested stylist in the city. I started my own brand, Nora's Crown Beauty. And my brother, Jackson. You wouldn't recognize him. The little boy who used to cry for food is now a brilliant young man. Auntie Luna made sure he went to the best schools. He is studying engineering now, and he is top of his class. He always tells me, "Nora, everything I do for you and Mummy Owen." We are finally living the life our father Mason wanted for us. But even in the middle of all this success, I often think about the village. I think about my father's house, which Marcus locked and abandoned. I think about the property that was stolen from us. We have money now, we have cars, and we have a beautiful home in America, but a part of my heart is still back in Anambra, wondering if justice will ever be served. You know how the world is now. The internet makes the world a small village. I started posting my hair tutorials and my success stories on social media. People back home started seeing me. They saw the poor orphan Nora, now looking like a billionaire's daughter. And you know who else saw it? Marcus. Man is not God. Marcus thought that by locking the doors and blocking the phone calls, he had locked Nora's destiny. He thought that because their parents were dead, there was no one to fight for them. But the God of the orphan never sleeps. When Marcus closed the door of the family house, God opened the gates of the United States. Young ladies, listen to me. Nora did not get to the USA by just sitting and crying. She saw Camille the hairdresser and decided to learn. Your skill is your security. If Nora hadn't learned how to style hair so beautifully, the woman from the USA would have pitied her, but she might not have seen a reason to take her abroad. Your talent is the key that opens doors that your background tried to lock. Marcus's story serves as a warning. You cannot build a happy life on the tears of a widow and her children. To take what belongs to your late brother and chase his children into the rain is a debt that the universe will surely collect. As Nora rises, we will see that the wealth Marcus stole was like sand, it slips through the fingers when the foundation is evil. Think about Camille and Auntie Luna. Camille gave Nora a place to stand, and Auntie Luna gave her a place to fly. These women were not Nora's relatives, yet they did more than her own blood. It teaches us to be kind to the strangers we meet, for you might be the angel God sent to change a generation. My dear friends, if you are suffering right now, look at Nora. She was 18, widowed, then orphaned, then homeless. She had every reason to give up. But she kept moving. Today, she and Jackson are the ones sending help back home. Your current section is not your final chapter. Keep heart, work hard, and stay prayerful. My final advice is this. Never let the world tell you that you are nothing because you lost your parents or your husband. Stand tall, learn a trade, and keep your heart clean. The same people who saw you crying in the rain will one day see you flying in the clouds. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. Your time is a gift, and I truly appreciate it. I hope this story brought light to your heart and strength to your spirit. Please stay safe and always remember that you are loved. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring African tales. And always remember, love, faith, and courage are the greatest treasures you can ever have. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.